Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio, and this time we are in update 0.10.1. I decided that it was, seeing as they've done the little bug fix, that everything should be alright now, and so I've moved the file over, so now we get to see various new textures on things and also lots of sound. And that's a bit of a problem actually, because when I updated it reset all my sound settings, of course, because they've changed them all entirely. And that means that I'm not entirely sure what sound levels I should use, or I think I ended up recording walking too loud, and actually I think the master volume was too high in general, but there was things aren't very balanced at the moment, so I apologise if there's any annoying noises like the random factory noises blaring in your ear at 4 times speed. But anyway, what I do is hop onto the train and wander over to this copper outpost, because we need to upgrade our copper, because of course the old outpost is slowly dropping in its production and it needs a replacement, and this is the replacement, so it's going to have to be producing at least as much as the previous outpost did to keep up with production needs. And I need to do a bit of belt upgrading to keep things flowing nicely, and then I have a quick check of the train, see how it's all going in. It looks good there. So I'm making my way back home, have a look at things here. You can see I've changed the inserter that fuels the train into a burner inserter, because that's a good use of it. It doesn't need to go very fast and it can fuel itself. Make a couple of upgrades to the copper line, so it's all now, all of the main conveyor belt for that is at least the middle speed one. And then we hop in our car and drive on over to this random little patch of copper over here, because I've decided to get this mined as well. So we set up a couple of drills and start working out where to go with it. Get a bunch of conveyors going all the way down, set up to join the main belt, but first I'll have to move the main belt, so I do that with it, move it along so that the extra copper supply will be added onto the side. And then I wander on back up and get myself some power lines so I can connect the whole thing up. So there's one of the big ones, and then a couple of the smaller electric poles to connect them up nicely. Add some effectivity modules, and I realised that I actually forgot to add them on the mines that I just built on the copper outpost, so I'm going to have to run back there and do that. And with a quick check of the power levels, everything looks fine and dandy there. At the moment, the copper, there is no backup of copper ore, which is not good at all, so I wander back to the copper unloading thing to see how that is, and I'm not quite happy with it. It's not quite there yet, so I hop back in the train, wander on over, get out, have a look at the other end just to make sure. And of course I put the effectivity modules in this time, and that's my phone, but anyway, I add some more mining drills just to further improve the production, and that should hopefully help with keeping us nicely supplied so that we don't have any more problems with it. And of course I put effectivity modules in all those, connect them up with the electric poles, and after having a quick look to make sure that everything's flowing at a decent speed, it all looks like it is. Clear a couple of trees out of the way, just why not. And then I decide to wander over and do some more worm killing, so I get another big worm killed, and all of the small and medium ones, and then there's just this big one left. I have to give up before it kills me, and so I wander back and wait for the next train. And next time I visit, I'll be able to finally kill that thing and move on to the next base. So in the train we hop, watching it fill up nicely, a lot quicker than last time. You can see it's half full there, and then we can watch it being unloaded on the other end, and that all looks good. And with any luck, we won't have any more problems with it, at least for a while, until there's mining drills running out in various places, which is inevitable. I get a bit more science done. You can see now the only science that we have left is stuff based on follower robots. In fact, I think it may just be the count of follower robots that is left as science that can be done without using alien artifacts, which means we are approaching the late game, where we start researching various technologies that require alien artifacts to keep the science going. But anyway, we get ourselves some assemblers, stick those down, and they'll be used later on to make the level 3 modules that we will eventually start producing when we're in the late game. So I mess about with the with the chests, because of course the stack sizes are all a bit weird at the moment. They're 256 when they've now been reduced to 200. So there's a couple of cases where I take things out of boxes and put them back in just to normalize it, because I might as well. But basically, because this was once a 0.9 game, there will always be some chests full of the wrong stack sizes, which is quite funny. Anyway, because we're suffering from quite a major lack of red science packs, and there is literally no space on the main line to put them, I decide to set up a new, very weird, sort of convoluted system over on a different section, and use... Oh, and there's some more signs done. We're now on follow a robot count 3, and it's either at the end of 4 or 5 that we finish all non-alien science. You can see there I'm looking through them all, making sure that there is literally only one that doesn't use the purple science, and I decide to actually set up the assembler ready, and then I run on over to the modules and get myself 10 productivity module level 2 things, and I put 4 of them into that assembler. Also that red science pack thing's going now, sort of missed that bit. But yeah, so that's all set up nicely and helping, though soon it won't be helping anymore, because we'll be because sort of the way we do science is going to sort of change because of how I intend to do it. So looking at the... Well, I think I've now taken... Oh no, I've not taken the mod... I'm thinking of a different thing there. There's no level 1 productivity modules because they've all been turned into level 2 ones. Oh, more science gets done. We're now on follow a robot count 4, so it's getting very close. And I accidentally filled my entire inventory with iron for a second there and put all that back in, so I suppose that's those stacks normalized. Grab some copper as well. Make my way down. Realize that this stone mine is finished, so I set up a new chest, and then I decide to actually get an inserter putting the stone from the other chest into a new chest itself, and that can help me see how much of a difference there is in capacity now between two chests by looking at that. Anyway, I wander over to this conveyor belt because there's a bit of a problem with things at the moment, so I mess about with it and improve the system there, and we get an attack on the north wall, which is, I believe, the first attack we've ever had there, even though I built it so many episodes ago at this point. Also, I noticed I've actually missed a bit of copper there and set up a mining drill for that, and all of the copper mines here are getting very close to running out. But anyway, we've had an attack on the north wall. I must go investigate. There we go, follow a robot count 5. This is the final part of the research. But anyway, driving up in the middle of the night, not being able to see anything. Notice that the light is very pixelated now. Anyway, there's no major problems there, just a bit of wall repairing. Didn't need to refill anything, but you may have noticed that when I zoom out, the light gets very pixelated, and that's because of a graphical improvement. Well, not a graphical improvement, a performance improvement at the expense of detailed lighting. I believe you can turn it off and on, and honestly I'm not that bothered, so I'm happy to have it pixelated if it means that the game runs better when there's lights on and things. So putting some effectivity modules in the blue science production because somehow I've missed that in all the time that it's been here. Running around checking on things, and we're now halfway through the final bit of mid-game science. And what I'm going to do is I'll go through the plan with you. So oh, it looks like we've got some iron problems actually at the moment. That's a bit worrying. Anyway, here's what's going to happen. So I've got 4 productivity modules going in the assembler, and the reason for that is that it means we get the most possible science, the highest possible science pack count out of the alien artifacts that we put in. And what I'm then going to do is put the productivity modules in these labs as well, and there I go killing the final worm in this collection, which means I can now go on a murderous rampage around the plains later on. So I'm going to put productivity modules in the science labs, and that means that we get the most science possible out of the alien science packs. So I'm basically trying to be as productive as possible, so that I don't have to gather as much alien science to get everything done, because it's a bit of a chore, and it gets harder and harder as time goes on. Well, the further out from the base you go is how it gets harder. it's moments now before we get that science done. I'm just wandering around looking at other things. The oil fractions are all a bit low at this point, so we're going to need to do something about that sooner rather than later. And there it is. The science is done. So I start researching productivity modules level 3. And the reason for that is that if I get that research first, then I can switch all the productivity modules to that and get even more science for my alien artifacts, which is the main goal here. And the power usage and pollution of the system is going to be insane, but hopefully that's balanced out by the super eco-friendliness of the rest of my entire base. So you can see it's going now. I've put the alien artifacts in. I put, I think, 14 of them. Each alien artifact produces 10, and then because of the 4 productivity modules, every 4 and a bit alien artifacts that I consume, I will produce an extra 10 science packs. And then going into the labs, they will have 12% productivity, so that means that something along the lines of... Oh, by the way, I'm just going on a killing spree right now, just while I'm talking. What will it give me? For every science... What is it? What's 10 divided by 12? It's a really fiddly number. Who cares? I'm killing worms. Suddenly, I've become excellent at killing them, surprisingly. I think it was because I realised that if I stand far away enough, I can shoot some while others can't see me. So that definitely helped, and now I'm trying to weave my way through forest in the middle of the night. But the point is that if I put as much in the way of productivity modules as I can into the science system, then I will get the absolute most that I possibly can out of the alien artifacts. So that's what I'm doing. So the first thing I research is productivity so that I can improve it further. And from there we'll start working on other cool stuff like the next level of Iron Man suit and things like that. So I'm having a look around the area to the south, and it looks like there is not that much left in the way of alien bases. It may be not long before I build the south wall and we are entirely safe from aliens. And you can see there I start producing hundreds of walls, ready to do that eventually, though I end up not doing it in this episode. So having a look around at things, and because we're running out of the individual oil fractions, we're going to need to do something about it there. But in the meantime, I'll wander off for a minute and put some random bits of ore that I ended up with into some furnaces, and then after clearing that electric pole out the way and then putting it back in because I can, it's time to finally build a second oil refinery. So I get some pipes ready, hook it all up to the system, get that all going, get the fractions set up. I have to move this bit of coal out of the way to make room for everything. So put this all in, and bam, we've got double the production that we did before of the oil fractions. So those tanks should fill up really quick. Of course, the problem is that the crude oil will now drop massively, which is something that I forgot about at that particular moment, and I only remember it just before the end of the episode when I don't have time to do it, so it'll have to be something for next episode. So I'm not happy with the processing unit production, because at the moment that is the limiting factor in our production of level 2 modules. So I hook that up to the system. It's a bit of a fiddly thing because I never intended for there to be more than one productivity module assembler. Usually I don't bother with such things. I usually, well, previously I've always found that one is enough, but it seems that this time it just sort of isn't, because we're not getting anywhere. Everything else is building up. So after moving the lubricant pipes out of the way to make space, I can hook it up to the rest of the system and get that all going. So we've now doubled our processing unit production, which should be excellent for keeping up production of modules. Because the thing is, now that we only have 3 of our labs going, because I mean, I could do more, but I just sort of can't be bothered. And later on it's particularly important because it does actually cost alien artifacts to make productivity modules. So you know, you have to make sure that you're earning, that you are actually earning more than you're spending in terms of that. So I'm making some modifications to the intake of coal there, because we are starting to come to the end. It's sort of a tradition at this point to mess around with the coal supply just as the episode's starting to come to a close, and I've replaced it all with all the stuff with burner inserters because they will burn some of the coal, because seriously, we have too much coal. We need to burn coal with burner inserters wherever we can. Anyway, next episode we'll be doing more work on modules, I imagine, and hopefully we'll have productivity modules done by at least the end of the episode, and we'll maybe also go on more killing speeds. But anyway, until then I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.